Yeah, so Jenny, I know you said that you haven't completed your results yet, but I'm just wondering at this stage if you have reflected back at all and seen what you would have done differently in the beginning or anything?
Not yet.
No, I've only really done a lot of the analysis and assessment over the last couple of weeks. I had wanted to get it done last summer, but other things happened and I couldn't get it done. So I haven't had as much time to go over my results and the things that I've done yet. So really, I couldn't answer.
Abby had a question.
Yeah, two questions. One was, what was a hyperplasia? In the sense of what caused the hyperplasia? You said psychosocial something, but I didn't quite capture it. And the second question was, just because I don't know, how do you, like, at what point do they, I'm not saying that you necessarily know, but at what point do bones go from a cemetery into study? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it because they built something there, or?
Yeah, it'll be archaeological excavations. Otherwise, they would still be in the ground.
The ones I used, they were excavated from 1988 to 1989 by the Canterbury Archaeological Trust, and our commercial osteology lab that we have on campus is the curator of it, so the students get free access. And a hyperplasia, basically, it's anything that causes systemic stress, because ameloblasts are very sensitive cells. They will shut down and produce enamel for pretty much any reason. But most factors is something, it could range from psychosocial stress, so if your family's breaking up or going through divorce or child abuse or illnesses like the chicken pox could even leave a mark. There are even minor ones you can tell when someone's been born. There are very, very small ones. And then malnutrition is a big one.
Yeah, you tend to see it a lot when there's been like a population-wide, famine or something. You can measure it that way. But yeah, no, the remains that we have at uni, we have training digs every summer. So we have the remains from there, but they also do, so my lecturers do research as well, so the remains get brought in from any digs that they've done. We've just had some brought in from Lebanon, which hopefully going to be sorting through over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's generally how the universities get done.
And there are ethics around it. As soon as bones aren't being used for educational purposes, they have to be returned to the ground. So if Bioant's department here shut down, we'd have to rebury 1,500 skeletons.
If nobody else has a question, shall I ask my question first, or Adria, do you want to ask your question? I'll just ask. My question is just about how much research do you do on the background of because you were saying, for example, that the people in your cemetery were probably quite poor. So how much research did you do on the diet of the people in Canterbury at that time, or what? And I was also wondering, and because you were talking a lot about age, so do you know the age of those skeletons, or and then I guess the same kind of question goes to you.
Jump in. Yeah, you have to do a lot of research really. Firstly, I had to know what I was looking for. So it meant a lot of background reading on what non-metric traits are and the different types you can get, because there are literally hundreds within the body. They can be really small, so if you don't know what you're looking for, you either miss it or you'll think it's part of the natural skeleton when it's generally not. Mine isn't really affected by diet or anything, but it can be affected by environment. But I have had a lot of trouble doing research on where the excavation sites are, because they were done a long time ago and we haven't got any records on site, so I'm still doing that research at the moment. So I've kind of done my analysis and I'm having to do it in a backwards kind of way.
Yeah, I'm finding it equally. I am researching kind of the paupers who were in my cemetery, but there isn't that much data about medieval Canterbury specifically, so it's quite hard to get anything that's very, very relevant to my population.
Would you find lots of pilgrims lots of people maybe from far away that would have ended up in Canterbury Cemetery, or is that not?
It's possible, but I think St Gregory's Priory was typically reserved for those living in and around the Canterbury area, and if you were really special, you got into the Priory.
Yeah, I think where my Kingston site is by London, obviously you would get a lot of travellers and that coming through London even during medieval times, which was why I was surprised that I didn't find any traits, because you would have thought you'd have find something coming in from other parts of Europe or whatever, and then it having an effect on the remains that are there. But I had the opposite problem where it was St Augustine that had all the traits, even though you don't necessarily have as much of an influx of people in that area, not necessarily until later on, because I know Bristol was used a lot for trade and stuff, so maybe later on you'd have more differences, but at that early time, so yeah, it's all a bit not quite how I thought it would be.
Anything else? Paddy?
Yeah, can you look at what you're looking at in people that are still alive?
Can you just speak a bit louder so that everybody
Sorry,
can hear
can you look at hyperplasia or while someone is still alive, and therefore determine exactly what different ones are caused by?
Yeah, you can actually. There's some studies that were trying to pin down what can do it, and they actually used chimps with Zubred, because they had a perfect record of their life, and they could say okay. And they've sort of been doing the same with humans. I actually have a friend who every time he talks to me I can see one on his tooth. And it really distracts me because of doing this dissertation. I'm just like, you have a hyperplasia.
Yeah.
Something happened to you. So it does you can do it.
Frankie?
Sorry, this just was in response to Abby as well. I did osteology last term, and our teacher, I can't remember her name, but our lecturer, she's really interested in this, and she did a test of her niece's baby tooth when it fell out, so you could test it on milk teeth as well, so then you could do it while people are still alive. And she correlated her niece didn't like going to her grandmother's or something, and she went there every 6 weeks, and she could correlate it on the tooth. Like every 6 weeks there was a mark made on the tooth to show the stress lines.
Yeah, those marks tend to happen internally. You can't see them outside of the It has to be slightly bigger stressor to be just visible. But
and that chimp study perfectly correlated every time it went to the vets and had antibiotics. So.
Any other questions? Didn't you have a question, Andrea?
No.
Oh, okay. Right. So thank you very much.